Diagnostic Manager competes against, well, doing nothing, and only a few specific solutions that provide similar, but definitely not the same support of SharePoint. Here we'll take a look at what helps us win and where we can lose. The biggest competition or reason that people don't try to buy Diagnostic Manager is that they'd rather just do nothing. Believe it or not, SharePoint can run fine, especially if it's not a critical solution and it's only being used for a web-based file share. An administrator may see more information as bad for their job because it provides insight into defining what fine is, which really may be a server still running on 2003, which is not supported by Microsoft, and has never been patched. Yes, I've seen that before. So what helps us win in these scenarios? Well, if SharePoint isn't critical, I wouldn't fight too much and say la vie to that prospect. But if the answer is that the administrator is fine with out-of-the-box capabilities, then they begin to understand the value when we talk about alert thresholds based on the SharePoint best practices, point-of-time comparisons across all of the supporting services, and reporting of those services, servers, SQL, network, on top of our key differentiators, which are the SharePoint page and content performance metrics. Looking further into specific solutions, our first competitor is Microsoft System Center Operations Manager, or better known as SCOM. This is a great performance monitoring tool and does a lot of different things. It can be highly customized even to view SharePoint, but most organizations, even the largest ones, that could have a dedicated SCOM administrator don't use it to its fullest potential. You could script and identify groups of servers, but it's still not the same way we identify a SharePoint farm. So what helps us? Well, the SharePoint specificity. We treat SharePoint, again, as a farm unit and can also monitor each additional server the same way SCOM does. Also, we can provide detailed information to SCOM, so we can turn the competitiveness into a value proposition because the customer obviously cares about performance monitoring. Now, where can we lose? Well, they're already spending money on SCOM or planning to, so they don't see need for an additional system. Also, in this case, if they're using SCOM, they might have a strong network administrator, and that person can block the SharePoint administrator from purchasing because the network administrator doesn't really want the other team to be able to have insight into the goings-on and be able to point back that if there is an issue, that it was network compared to application. Next, let's talk about GSX, who has an increasing presence in the marketplace, but has really focused regarding to SharePoint on Office 365. So we win on premises because that's where we still are, but at the same time, they may be gaining some separate market share in the Office 365 business. So what helps us win is, again, our SharePoint specificity of page and content alerts and reporting. Where can we lose? Well, GSX monitors across other collaboration and messaging solutions, and it actually started in email, so it has a different base of users than our typical diagnostic manager sale, or even if we consider the original Idera products and the current Idera SQL manager. So we are not in the same place as them. So we're not directly competing, but they might be able to sell the SharePoint add-on because it's already being purchased for email. So it's something to consider. Finally, SolarWinds. The story that helps us win is the same. SolarWinds is known for their network monitoring capabilities and has SharePoint add-ons, but we're built for SharePoint. Another differentiator is our alerting capabilities for SharePoint greatly outweigh those of SolarWinds. We can lose because SolarWinds is a strong network monitoring tool and people are okay with just having the network and individual reporting. Okay, they spent money on getting this thing up and they can't really justify the additional benefits of just SharePoint. But like SCOM, They do monitor most of the same SharePoint components, but we have the differentiator of the web part, page, and content administration. So again, they could be a competitor, but also someone who is confident and sees the importance of monitoring. As you can see, there are some competitive factors that come into play for Diagnostic Manager, but prospects who are already using monitoring tool like System Center or SolarWinds are also prime customers because they know the value of monitoring to their organization. Ask them what value they're receiving from those tools and ask if it would be nice to apply those same benefits to SharePoint through Diagnostic Manager.